budget for FYI 2027, which begins May 1st, which is Friday, and it runs through April 30th of 2027, hence it's FY 27. The reason it's that way is because they like to align the fiscal years with when the elections are held, and our elections are held in April. Okay, is there anybody here that has any comments, questions, or anything concerning the budget for 2027?
Don't we need
Okay,
to approve the agenda
then-
and stuff first?
Pardon?
Don't we need to approve the
You don't
agenda?
actually, because it's a public hearing, I know it was set up as a full board meeting, but it's really just a public hearing. And I told Steve, generally in a public hearing, you call the meeting to order. I mean, because there's an agenda here, I suppose you could buzz through it quickly, but most of the communities that I do, when they do these appropriation ordinance and budget ordinance, public hearings, they'll have it at like 5 to 6. And it's just, we convene the hearing, and then, you know, the mayor will say, is there anybody here who wants to speak regarding the appropriation in favor or opposed? Nobody says anything. Any questions from the trustees? Public hearing is adjourned.
Okay.
We do have a list, if you really want to go down it, I guess you can.
It's up to you.
I don't care.
Okay, anybody got any comments or anything? Okay, then let's, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And
Adjourn.
next year, we can, you know, identify it more as a convene the hearing. Basically, you're convening the hearing, identifying who's present.
And when I do choose
I know where they're all good right now.
1 minute.
Yeah, I usually sit in the kitchen. Completely destroyed it. But this time I stood, peeled potatoes. Well, I have one of those pressure pants. But I'm missing in the office inside where the stove is. So I do it there, but I usually sit and peel potatoes, but I and my feet did not hurt. It's gonna take a while, you know? It's gonna take a while for my body to readjust and everything, so. And I know that, and that's okay. I'm not planning on going anywhere.
Okay, can we do the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting to order and do a roll call, please.
Trustee McMahon?
Here.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Bain?
Here.
Trustee Agee?
Here.
Trustee Wolford? Here. Trustee Pennell?
Here.
Tom Green?
Okay. Got everybody here tonight. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. A motion to approve the minutes into the business meeting of March 24th.
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next, we do the bills. Okay, so we have sewer testing, 146, sewer testing, 146, water testing, 50, water testing, 36, water testing, 100. Vortec Technologies, we did some work on our system, $4,300. That was underground cable wire that runs the variable drives on our pumps. Cordray for a water main break, $1,885. A&A Underground for water main break, $85.50. Surf Internet, $167.42. Aquafix, $1644.82. Strand, $421.33. Nicor, $67.21. 210.28. $63.97. ComEd, $129.37. 1262.31. 1737.99. 1263.67. and 6174. Core and Main for sewer software support, $46.98. Frontier, $1731.95. USA Blue Book, $89.25. And the total is $28,762.31, of which $41,20.43 will come out of the general fund and $24,641.88 comes out of water and sewer. Any questions or comments? Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Can I have a roll call?
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Bain?
Aye.
Trustee Agee?
Aye.
Trustee Wolford?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McMahon?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes, we pay the bills. Okay, any public comments?
Question on the bill, why do you have Surf and Frontier both for sale?
We have them both because they're not both for sale. Surf is for all our internet work, all right? And the reason we have Frontier is because Surf can't get to a couple of the spots that we need them to. So we have to keep Frontier for that. We tried to do it all with Surf Internet, but it's just not possible, so, okay? Any other public comments? Okay, next we're gonna move on to the well house. I wanna do a chronological, line of events here to move this up to where we are right now. So when I first took office, the village was donated like 3,000 books, most of which are downstairs, because we have no place to put them upstairs. And I was looking at well house number 1, which is unoccupied and not used for anything. And a couple of us got together and thought it might be a good idea to turn it into a library. So we thought we could get volunteer help and do a little work on it and staff it with volunteer people, et cetera. And we looked into it, and there were a lot of roadblocks in the way. Well, you have to belong to a library district, and the library district requires taxation and full-time people, and it's a municipal building, so you can't use volunteer labor, et cetera. And we put a notice on our water bill and asked people to let us know whether they were interested in us trying to move forward with a library, and the vote was no. So I don't remember the exact vote of everybody that voted, but out of everybody that voted, it was negative, so we dropped it. So I didn't pay much attention to the well house after that, but one day I decided last year to go actually take a look at it, and I went inside and looked around and walked outside and looked around, and there's a lot of problems with this building. I mean, it's structurally decaying quickly, okay? And there's not much you can do with it to reconfigure it to use it for something. I felt like the obvious thing to do was to demolish the building and save some of the materials and put up some sort of a commemorative memorial area to commemorate the building and the water tower that used to be there. And obviously I got some pushback on that because I understand the relationship with the building and the village, and it's historical, and a lot of people have a lot of feelings about it. So what we did is we asked, I was presented a petition with 201 names on it, and I was convinced to allow that group of people 90 days to come up with a plan for this building about how they were gonna fix it and what they were gonna use it for, etc. So the 90 days is up today. In the meantime, I was also asked to get an appraisal to find out what the building was actually worth. And since it's a municipal building, it has to be a certified appraisal, so we contacted a certified appraiser, and he came out and took a look at the building and took pictures and made measurements and everything. And they got back to me and they said they are unable to appraise the building because of the, they can't determine whether the building is structurally sound or whether it can be made structurally sound. And until we got a report from a structural engineer, they had to back off. So what I did is I sent the pictures that I took and had presented to the entire board here, and anybody else who wanted to see them. I sent them to our engineering firm, Strand Engineering, and asked them if they could give me a ballpark on what they thought we needed to do to this building to make it structurally sound, ADA compliant, etc. Our engineer called me up and he said, I'm going to be in the neighborhood. Is it okay if I come into the building and actually take my own pictures and make my own notes, etc.? And I said, sure. So we let him in and he did his thing. And he took the information back to Madison and he sat down with a couple of engineers. And they gave us what I would call like a 30,000-foot review. And most of you don't have this, so I'm going to read it to you, okay? I'm going to make this as quick as possible. It says, Dear Mr. Bank, the village has requested Strand Associates, Inc., Strand, review the viability of converting the existing well number 1 well house into an occupied public space. This public space would reportedly be used as either a library or a museum. This would be considered a change of use, and the building would need to be brought up to current building code and occupancy requirements. The occupancy of this type of building would be considered an assembly, A3 occupancy, and the following building codes need to be met. The 2006 International Building Code, the 2006 Existing Building Code, the Illinois Plumbing Code Current Edition, the 2008 National Electric Code, the 2006 International Mechanical Code, the 2006 International Fire Code, the Illinois State Energy Code Current Condition edition of the 2017 International Code Council ICCA 117.1 Americans with Disabilities Act. While the village currently uses the above-mentioned codes, it is reportedly in the process of transitioning to the 2021 versions of these codes were available. Strand does not anticipate a significant renovation cost difference regardless of which codes are in use. Strand suggested reviewing well number 1 building renovation viability in 2 phases. Phase 1, a desktop review. Phase 2, a site assessment and facility assessment report. The purpose of this letter is to serve as the Phase 1 desktop review to determine whether it is economically feasible to continue pursuing a well number 1 building renovation project. The most notable items would require updates including accessibility upgrades, installing new floor in the well room, and general improvements for the building to be used by the public. The existing entryway and bathroom do not appear to meet ADA requirements, nor would there be enough restroom fixtures for a building with public access. A publicly occupied building would need either an appropriate ramp or landing or an elevator and restrooms for both men and women. Preliminary opinion of probable costs for accessibility improvements and new bathroom is between $250,000 and $500,000. These costs do not include engineering and permitting costs. The next step, Phase 2 site assessment and facility assessment report, will be to perform a detailed site visit and analysis of the building, determine what other structural, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing rehabilitation or replacement will be required. There are some obvious brick and roof rehabilitation needs of the facility, but a comprehensive review of the facility has not been conducted. Strand is unable to provide a project OPC, or the opinion of probable cost to rehabilitate the facility beyond the NOAA's Phase 1 costs listed previously, but an additional $100,000 to $250,000 or more would be typical for this type of project. Assuming a total project cost, including engineering, of approximately $400,000 to $1 million would be appropriate for budgeting purposes. This project cost range could be narrowed down during Phase 2 site assessment and facility assessment report. Please let Strand, if the village would like to prepare a scope and fee to perform Phase number 2. Okay. So that's quite a lot of money, okay? And we're bound by a code in the Illinois statute, and it is 20 ILCS 3105-10.18E. Any municipal building code or county code, building code must, 1, regulate the structural design of new buildings other than residential buildings in a manner that is at least as stringent as the baseline building code, and 2, regulate the structural design of rehabilitation work in existing buildings other than residential buildings in a manner that is at least as stringent as the baseline existing building codes. So our hands are tied as to how we have to go about doing this. So what we are going to be required to do any work to this building is we are required to have plans, structural plans, drawings that have to be approved by our building inspector and have to be approved by our engineers before any work can be done. That's all got to be paid for, okay? The current situation, in my opinion, is it's going to cost us a lot. Number one, the only bathroom in the building is not ADA compliant. It cannot be made ADA compliant because it's not big enough. Because in order to have a bathroom that's ADA compliant, you got to be able to get in there with a wheelchair and to be able to maneuver around, and that bathroom is not big enough to allow that to happen. So that's number one. Number two, we're not talking about a remodel, we're talking about a rehabilitation. So covering the flooring with vinyl is not a rehab, that's a reno. And the floors would have to be sanded down and refinished just like the original. The plaster has to be repaired, the wiring has to be redone, the plumbing has to be redone, the HVAC has to be redone, the foundation needs to be stabilized, the entire building needs to be tuck pointed, the ramp out front needs to be taken out and put in, a new one has to be put in because with railings because it's not ADA compliant. There's a lot of work that has to go into this building, and I just think this is not the way to go. So what I want to do is all the people that's sitting here on this board have all the information, they've had all the information. And what I want to do is after the 90 days, and we've waited, first of all, I want whoever is in charge of, because nobody ever told me who was really going to be in charge of this. So whoever is going to be in charge of this, I would like you to make your presentation, okay? And then I want to go through each board member and find out what their thought process is. So who's responsible for this?
Well, I'm responsible for
Okay.
that, with a group effort added to it. It wasn't just individually.
Mary Lynn is the one that got all the information.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes, yeah. So I presented it that way because you can read it. It's there.
Yes.
And nothing can be misconstrued. I just don't think the building needs to be taken down, just because you feel it's,
But it's not just me.
Can you let her finish, please?
that's how it started out. You said, I went into the building, I took pictures, it's going to fall on children. We need to destroy it. That's not the answer. It's not your building to destroy. You don't own it personally. So I presented ideas and you asked, and it was very vague. You said in 90 days, you need to do this, this, and this. Okay, none of that can be done in 90 days. So I did the best I could, put together the information. I feel as though it does not need to be taken down. There's other people that feel it does not need to be taken down. There are other options. And over a long period of time, over more periods, more longer time here, we could come up with something to, do with the building without spending $500,000.
But according to our engineers, in order to turn this into a public space,
But we don't have to put it into a public space yet.
then why spend the money on something we don't need?
Because it is a village building, therefore it is a village responsibility. You seem to be hell-bent on it coming down. This is also a project that's not going to be done in a year. It will be a multi-year project. We have our accounting firm telling us that we need to allocate funds to different things. You're telling me we cannot put it in our infrastructure, so why can't we allocate funds to the restoration of this building?
I didn't say we couldn't put it into our infrastructure.
Can I finish? You told me we couldn't put it in water and sewer.
No, I said we can't use it to make up a deficit on an annual basis.
That's not what I was talking about when we were talking about water and sewer. We were talking about replacing the pipes and stuff with it.
That's correct.
You still told me no. This is a multi-year project. If we have to allocate the funds, we can allocate the funds and have it done over the next 4 to 5 years. Yes, there is not a use for it quite yet.
Correct.
Does not mean that it cannot be utilized farther on down the line. And it's not gonna be a one administration thing. It's gonna be a multi-administration thing. Now, what the next administration does with it, if I'm not sitting here, I don't know. But bringing it down is not the question. Fixing it is the question. I don't think it's gonna cost us $1 million to fix this.
Right.
This is the same engineering company that told us it was gonna be $170,000 something for them to help us with the sidewalks, and you didn't wanna do that. So then why?
Can I ask which engineer? Was it Ryan?
Ryan and other engineers at Strand.
Okay, are there names on there?
No,
This one's
Ryan's the
Ryan.
one
No,
that
this
signed.
one just says Ryan.
Ryan Wood signed.
Okay, I'm gonna say one thing. Ryan is not an architectural engineer.
Right.
I know.
And okay, so how does his opinion?
This is not his opinion, this is Strand's opinion, and he signed it on behalf of Strand Engineering. He talked to 2 structural engineers at Strand Engineering.
Okay, so their names need to be on there.
They should be,
Yeah,
if that's what they're saying.
because I know for a fact that is not Ryan's expertise.
Expertise.
I agree
yes.
with you, it's not,
Yes,
that's why
so
I asked him to
it doesn't
talk
count.
to some people.
Yeah,
But at the same time, there are grants that are out there. Unfortunately, the grants are time sensitive.
Yes.
They are very lengthy in paperwork, so they do take time to accomplish.
If you remember, Gina told you that because this is a municipally owned building, there's probably no grant money available.
there is grant money for it.
And there is grant
It's
money
a local-
available
There is.
It would be considered a local historical point, not a national one, it's a local
Local.
one. And there are grants for it, specifically for it.
Okay,
And you have to apply for them in October, and then they take their time to decide, and it might be months before we would know.
And you may not get it that first time, so you might have to reapply the second
Correct.
year.
Right.
You know, it might take 2 or 3 times, but it is
But in the
available.
meantime, you can do other fundraising as well through, like, we do the Capron Fair or whatever. We can do GoFundMe's, there's fundraising opportunities out there. But above and beyond, it is a village building, it is on us to fix it. I do not think demolition is the answer, and I do not think it's gonna cost $500,000 to
Did
restore.
we get a quote for demolition?
Yeah, it was just a verbal quote, but it was 10 to 12,000.
So you would rather pay that to destroy it? You'd be willing to pay that to destroy it and take it down than put the money into it to maintain it?
It's gonna cost a lot more than 10 to 12,000 dollars to maintain it, to put it back together, right? That's the problem.
Like I
Right,
said, I don't think it cost a $500,000.
Right.
The building itself is not that,
When you go to rehab a building, it costs a
a
lot more.
government building,
But
Right.
the
not a
problem,
building, a government.
the problem is though, is that
municipal building.
it has been neglected for so long that yes, it is going to take this amount of money to restore
Right.
it. But again, that it is on the village, we maintain the rest of the village buildings.
Right.
So why are we
Yeah.
neglecting this one?
Well, I'm not neglecting this one, it's been neglected long before I came here,
I don't care if
okay?
it's
Right,
been neglected,
doesn't
that's not
matter.
my point. My
Right.
Just
point
because there wasn't a
is,
library, there can't be anything else.
Yeah,
Once there wasn't a
because these
library,
things
they
had to
just
be
shut it
done.
down.
Well, I don't know what else it could be used for.
It's a historical landmark. It's
Right.
a local historical landmark.
And I
Gina
think
said
that-
it couldn't be.
I
The
did
last
No,
one
it
in
can be.
Capron,
It
one
can
that's
be an
been in
historical
Capron for
landmark.
145 years.
There's a process you have to do to go
What else
through
has
it.
been here for 145 years?
And
Right.
I talked to the.
Anything?
I talked to the son, honestly, actually, I talked with the daughter and the son of the
I mean,
man that
then
built this.
Gina wasted her
and their
time sitting
grandfather
here
and their
wasting her
father built
words,
this
telling us a
building,
bunch of bull
and
hockey
his other
then.
buildings in the town that he has built are still standing. People live in them, they're homes. There's one right across the street. So these houses, I mean, so that building's
That are
not-
also built with engineers and/or building inspectors
Right.
okaying them.
And they're from the 1900s.
I agree with
Bought
that,
them
the
and
times
lived in
have
them.
changed, there's not, my hands are tied as far as how this has to be done.
I'm not
Right,
saying
but we don't have to
How
rush.
it has to be done. We're talking about the amount of money, which again, I
Right.
don't know if anyone
We're
else
not
thinks
saying
it, but
that
I
your
think
hands,
that's
we're not saying your hands are
ridiculous and
tied.
so inflated.
We're
But-
not rebuilding it.
I don't think you're looking at the big picture. This is not gonna be something that's done in the next couple of years.
Right.
It's going to take time.
All right, first of all, I want to do what I said I was gonna do. Glenn, do you have anything you want to say?
I was very interested in receiving information regarding what the potential uses in the future of the building would be. And you received a packet, this is from you?
It's for me,
Okay,
yes.
good, I didn't see a name on it. I did not have time to completely read it, and I need to take the time to do that. I need to
That would be
digest
appreciated,
it
yes.
and
That would be much
think
appreciated.
about it. So I'm not really in a position to comment without having digested this material yet. But,
That's why I
I'm
presented it, yeah.
looking forward to looking at it and seeing what the possibilities are. I see a lot of this refers to the history of the building.
I did add that also.
Will I find also ideas as to what it could be used for going forward?
There is one sheet in there that has, yes, ideas.
I look forward to looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Linda?
Well, that was kind of the same thing. The 90 days was to give an idea of what it would be used for, and nobody's still saying what it's going to be used for.
Well, that was the vague part. Okay, so were we supposed to present something 3 months ago for you to decide
You
today?
had 90 days in order to present that to us and what it
That
would be
wasn't
used
clear.
for.
Nobody said it that way. It was very vague. It was,
Right.
okay, you got 90 days to come up with this stuff. Okay, 90 days to present it beforehand, or on the 90 days.
Right.
Or, and you were supposed to do this, this, and this, which none of that is feasible to do in that amount of time. And so that's why I presented it the way I did, so you can read it, and it's.
We're not making a decision tonight,
You know.
okay? Because we just got this stuff from you tonight.
Okay, well, that was what that's
Okay.
what I was taking from
Don't,
Linda.
I'm not gonna, this is not something we're gonna rush into,
Okay,
okay? I'm still, you know, we just got your information tonight, and I
Okay.
wanna be respectful and allow you us the time to digest what you get.
Okay, oh, that's
Okay?
fantastic, no, thank you.
May I ask a question? The building seems to have been essentially neglected and not maintained for the last several years.
Yes.
Is there any compelling reason that we must address it now, or can the building just be left alone?
It's not an imminent danger of coming down.
Oh, it's not gonna fall down
Right.
tomorrow, okay, if
Okay,
that's
so,
what you're asking.
one, we're not under any time pressure that we need to do something right away.
Correct.
No, I just felt
Second
like
question I have
if
is,
I didn't say anything ever,
sure,
then nothing's ever gonna happen.
You never
Okay.
know. You don't know what the next.
the second question I have is, we we're hopeful that we could proceed with the construction of the park on the property adjacent to it.
Right.
Is there any reason that that cannot go forward with that building in its current condition where it's at?
Not to my knowledge, but that'll be up to the rest of you guys to decide that. No, the building is not standing in the way of
Okay.
doing anything with the playground, okay? They're two separate issues, okay? If we put the playground up, and then it was determined that the building must come down, then we'll have to take some safety requirements. But I think any responsible demo company would be able to work around that without a problem. But no, one to me is not having anything to do
So
with
they're not
it.
connected.
Okay?
Thank you.
And we'll probably address that next month, okay?
Thank you.
All right. I heard from you, Melissa.
Wait, is she done?
Nope.
Oh, you're not done, okay.
So the 90 days that you gave everybody to come up with this, that's where you kind of made it sound like, one, this building needs to come down and it needs to come down now. You made it sound like they needed to get all their quotes, all their ducks in a row, all of this in a row by tonight.
Correct.
That is why people are so ticked off, because of the way you made it come across, including me.
That is correct.
Well, I still want to know what you're gonna do with this building, okay?
But again,
See, that's how I felt though, the same way. It's not that I'm saying that the building has to be taken down, but you gotta have a purpose for the building sitting
It
there.
has a purpose. It's standing there representing the generations before us.
But
been
it's just
standing-
falling apart,
No, it's
nobody's
not.
using it,
No,
nobody's
it's-
seeing
It's
it.
not falling apart. It's
Yeah, it is.
No,
It is.
it's
It's dangerous
degrading a little
inside.
bit. It's 100 years old, but it
Right.
doesn't, it has a purpose. Its purpose is our history. Capron's history is in that building.
But nobody can go into it the way it is.
Well, then that's what we can work in from
Right.
now. From
What?
here on, that can be over years
So
and
better
other
things
people
to
can
do
have
with
their
it, though.
input on it. It doesn't have to be our decision. It can be 3 years from now, 10 years from now. Those people can decide. The building belongs to the people of Capron.
That's correct.
All of them.
All right, I am not going to continue to kick this can down the road, okay? At least while I'm sitting here, we are going to make a decision one way or the other on the future of this building, okay? Now, I don't know if all of you have what else I put in here, but this arch, if you want to call it, this is over at what used to be called the Keene Center. It's now Senior Connections, and it's their memorial garden for veterans, et cetera.
And it's done with the bricks that
Yeah,
are from the
and-
building.
And I would like
We're
to do
keeping
something
bricks
like this
from the
with,
building.
with the bricks
Yeah, how
from
much
the
does
building.
that cost to take?
I don't know yet, I haven't
Right.
looked into it, okay?
Because
That
we
just-
were giving everybody 90 days.
All that does is.
I haven't looked into it because I wanted to know what you guys came up with, so I haven't done anything. The other picture here is what you would do for a display and information on what the building used to look like with the water tower and who built it and where it came from and what it was used for and the landmark and everything else, and put that in conjunction with this and make this the entrance to what I would call Water Tower Park, because that's where it's at. And I felt that this was a much more fiscally responsible way to commemorate that building. And it would be seen by lots of people, because every time they walked into the playground, they'd have to walk through there. And that's also where we have our Food Truck Fridays, so people are there. And we're gonna put some picnic tables in that area too, so people will be walking through there and they will be able to see what the history of this building was. And I just think it would be serving a much better purpose at a much cheaper price than what we're talking about to rehab this building. It's,
I know, like on the one
Still in the
comment,
basement? Yes.
the one
The 300
comment
books are
here,
still in the basement?
Yes.
pardon?
Okay, the 300 books.
Yes.
Yeah, they're
Are still
down
in the basement.
3,000 books.
Are they historical books?
No, they're just books.
Someone donated thousands of books.
There was a
None
donation
of
from.
them.
and Rachel categorized all of
Yeah,
them.
there's all kinds of kids' books down there, there's all kinds of books down there.
Library books, yeah.
Well, and they're just taking up space then? Because you're not
Pretty
gonna
much,
do anything with
yeah,
them?
that's what they do.
We had to keep them because they were donated, but at the time, they said, We could use it as a library.
So
So
can
we
you
still
donate them
got,
to somebody else so you can make more space? I mean, why
I don't
don't
think
you
the
do-
school
why don't you take
wanted
over-
it, didn't we?
Well, first of all, we can't do anything with the basement because the basement is not ADA compliant, okay?
Well, no, get rid of the books. I mean, what do you guys?
Well, we tried, I don't know that there's any place we can get rid of them.
But you can save a historic building.
but you know, one of the things you guys say here is no other community has it. There's a reason no other community has it.
Has what?
Because it has a building, because it says on here, no other community has this building, and that's one of the reasons. A lot of places cannot keep up the upkeep of it.
Go back and
if you
watch the
don't have a
YouTube
reason-
that Gail came and talked. She explained it all in thorough detail why we cannot do it.
Maintain it, and like, I'm not sure, I don't know anyone's name here, I apologize. But when you talk about, you know, GoFundMe's, and you have people in the community who probably would sand floors or fix.
You
or-
cannot use volunteer work
Oh,
on
that's right, because
municipal
it's the
buildings.
government.
It's, but
Right?
they're stuck
Shocker.
following the codes.
You can't
You don't
have,
have a
first of all, we're
choice.
not gonna be allowed to have any volunteer work on this building.
They have to be
Okay?
licensed.
They all have to be licensed contractors, they all gotta be paid.
But I mean, if they're
Prevailing
licensed, they
wage.
can be licensed.
Prevailing wage
can't they?
is union
No,
wages.
Prevailing wage doesn't, yeah, no.
Can't they be
We're-
licensed? I mean,
Who's
aren't there
already-
people in the, I
Who's
just
been
think that there
through
might be
this?
people in the area who, again, might have an attachment and might be licensed and be able to do that. Has that been checked into? Or is it just we go
So-
to the engineering place and they just go
It's-
to
it's-
Were they
it's-
part of
I'm
the
gonna-
200
no, I'm
signatures?
You're not- you're not- you're
I
not
understand.
listening to
Okay,
me.
wait a minute. So, excuse me. So when this building was redone, who did it?
I don't know.
No.
No, when the.
When
the
your
floor
office
stuff
was drywalled and painted, who did it?
We painted, our maintenance guy painted.
Yeah, your maintenance guy.
Yeah.
Right.
He fixed drywall, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Be licensed.
Is he licensed? No, he was a yard guy. He
this
was
is not a
lawn guy.
rehab.
No, it was.
This is not.
This is still a
Please,
municipal
will you
building.
please listen to me, all
No,
right?
it was a
This is
municipal
not. This is
building.
not a rehab.
Steve.
This was a remodel, we put new carpeting in and new flooring in, and we painted the walls, okay? We are not ripping out and putting in new electric, we're not putting in new plumbing. The foundation in this building is not failing, nothing needs to be tuck pointed. We don't have to reconfigure any or replace any floors or any walls. All that stuff is gonna have to be done in that building.
Who redid the bathroom in this building?
I don't know. It was done before I took over, okay?
Can we move on, please?
All right, I tell you what,
How much does your arch cost?
I don't know yet.
We presented an idea.
90 days was
We
for
got to
us,
the
but
90
not-
days, no, we got to the 90 days and we presented an idea. That's what we did.
That's what I wanted to do.
This is our idea.
To do, okay? All I asked for was a plan for the building. I don't know why that was so vague, okay?
I don't know why it's such a rush to have everything in 90 days, when it takes time to, go through and come up
Well,
with a
fine,
plan.
how much time do you want?
I mean,
This needs to be an ongoing background project. That's all there is to it.
once your history's gone, your history is gone.
I understand that.
We're not trying to get rid of the history.
You're talking about taking
You
the
don't
building
put 'em down.
down.
We're
That's
trying
getting rid
to
of it.
memorialize the
But
history.
still put plaques up about it and use it.
I want to
as
know,
plaques.
I've heard from so many residents that want to save the building. I have not heard
I've
from
heard so many
anybody.
residents who don't even know what that building is.
They're saying take it down.
Literally, I can
haven't-
walk up to somebody and go, do you know what
How
that
would you
well house
feel
is? And
if I
nobody
asked
knows what
you-
it is.
If I gave you
Sorry, guys.
another 90 days, and I want you to get 226 homes to tell me they want to save this building. Not signatures, 226 homes. That's one signature for each house, and that would be the majority of the homes in this town to
Does it
tell me
have,
that
why
they
does
want
it
to do
have to
this.
be the homes from Capron?
Because it's in
There's
regards to
450 homes
Capron.
It has to be in
Well,
Cape.
why does it have
No,
to
it
be from
doesn't.
Capron?
It's
Why can't
Capron.
other
Because
people
this is
do
a
it?
village thing that we're talking
It's a
about.
village
It's a
project.
village
Don't you want
project.
other people to come in and enjoy
Oh,
Capron and come
Yeah,
and
this'll
enjoy the
do it.
heritage?
Well, they're looking at it this way
This'll
for
work.
how many years?
This'll
They've
work.
been looking at
Okay,
it
what's
this way for
next?
how many years?
All right, we're done with this conversation. I'll have to think about how I want to address this in the future. I've heard from everybody. I'm not making a decision tonight, so let's move on, okay? Next on the agenda is the budget ordinance 26-3. You've all had it for 2 weeks. I went over the highlights with everybody. Does anybody have any questions or concerns? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve the ordinance?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance
Can I have a second?
26-3.
And I'll second.
Roll call, please.
President Beak?
Aye.
Trustee Agee?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbur?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McMahon?
Aye.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
We'll get this in the clerk's office tomorrow. Okay, next, this is the annual engagement letter for our audit. We also went over this, I explained, I think it's $100 difference on all the fees.
No, it is up $1,000
Yes.
from
Sorry,
last year.
$1,000, I'm sorry. So that's in keeping with everything else. They're in here, they're out of there, they do a good job. They know us, they know our system, we know what they need, so I really don't want to change horses in the middle of a race here. They're reasonably priced. They've been recommended by our accounting service, and they've done a good job for us. So can I have a motion to approve this resolution? This engagement letter.
I'll make a motion to approve the engagement
Can I
letter.
have a second?
I'll second it.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Trustee Agee?
Aye.
Trustee Wilbur? Aye. Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McMahon?
Aye.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Beak?
Aye. Okay, next is the water rate increase. We talked about the need to raise our water rates by 2% because of the awfully large projects that we had last year. Hopefully, we don't have them again this year. So by raising rates 2%, we end up with a modest surplus in the water fund, which will keep the USDA happy. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the resolution, R-226?
I'll make a motion to adopt
I have a
resolution
second?
R2.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Trustee Wilbur?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McMahon?
Aye.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Beak?
Aye.
Trustee Agee?
Okay. Next on here is the sidewalks. I was gonna do 3 sidewalks, but the quote came in a lot higher than I expected it to. So we're just gonna do both sides of 6th Street between the alley and Ogden. And we're just gonna make this an annual ongoing project until we get all the sidewalks replaced. So my request is that we approve the quote for $66,780 to do the sidewalks on 6th Street. And A&A Construction is a partner of Bell Rock, who was an approved supplier to IDOT, so that's why I went this route. So they know what they're doing, and everything will be ADA compliant when they're done.
Can you remind us how much you thought this was gonna cost?
Well, originally, it was all gonna cost $83,000,
Yes, if you do
Okay.
everything, it costs $83,000.
and
However, if you do them separately, it costs
Yeah.
$96,530. So why wouldn't you just do
because
it
when
together?
you do them separately, then that means they're gonna come back and do it at another time. So you got travel times and all that, and setup and all that good stuff. And when you buy concrete from the batch plant, you get a discount for more concrete you purchase.
So
So
then
would it be better
why
to
would
do
we
it
not
all?
do both projects?
Because I don't wanna spend that much money in one year.
So we're gonna end up spending more, because we're gonna do them separately.
Well, unfortunately, that's the way it goes. It's like I'd like to pave a whole bunch of roads, but we just can't do it all at one time. We have other things that we need to take care of. The budget as it stands that we just approved has a $19,000 surplus in it. So if we did everything all at one time, we'd have a deficit, and I really don't want to do that.
Is this the only quote you got for this project?
Pardon?
Is this the only quote?
Yeah.
Well, it's the only quote I got because I want to use IDOT approved suppliers, because
Plenty of them.
if it's not IDOT approved and they don't do it right, we're gonna have to do it over again,
And
so.
I would like to add too, that I actually had the list and I called 2 other ones. One called back, said he does not have the time for it, the other one never even returned my call.
So we
So I
tried,
did call 2 other ones, they're out of Rockford, and I can get you the numbers if you want. me to.
yeah. There's about 5 or 6 of them that are approved in this area, okay, to do that kind of work, and that's it. So it's like when the county, we're doing our paving through the county, because we get a break on everything. They only had one company quoted them this year. So you're kind of stuck sometimes, it's the way it goes. Okay? So that's why. We have other things that we're doing, and, you know, we're gonna do this a bit at a time, just like everything else. We're paving roads, like every year we do a little bit more. Sidewalks we do a little bit more. Infrastructure we do a little bit more. We just do it all at the same time, so we can bring everything up together. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. And according to Ian, who was here at our last meeting, said our infrastructure is in really good shape compared to everybody else around here. And we are working in conjunction with them on what needs to go forward. So hopefully this project that they're gonna be starting early next month on the manholes, which I'll get to a little bit later, is gonna do a great job for us. So once again, can I have a motion to approve?
I have
the
a
bid?
question.
Yeah.
The only question I have is, the street that's by the post office, that is really bad. Is that the only reason we're not doing that? Because it's 173?
IDOT, when IDOT comes in here, they are rebuilt, I'll explain the whole project. They're going from basically County Line Road to the other side of,
Right.
all the way to 76. Between Capron and 76, all they are doing is they're gonna repave it and widen the shoulders, okay? But when in town here, because none of these sidewalks are ADA compliant, they all come down like this, which is not, they can't be, okay? They've gotta be level. So in order for that to happen, they've gotta raise all the intersections, okay? And while they're doing that, they are going to redo all the storm drains, all the sidewalks, all the parking spaces. They're redesigning the parking so that all the parking is like inside, like a little cove, if you will, where you're gonna be walking. There's an island that juts out into the street on both sides, because what that does, is it makes the pedestrian walk less of a distance from one side of the street to the other. And that's a safety thing, so they're doing all that. Everything's gonna be new. There's gonna be a bike lane, everything's gonna be new. So, that's why I'm not touching any of that, because when they come in, they're gonna rip it all up. That's why I'm also going from doing the sidewalks from the alley, because from the alley to 173, they're
Right.
gonna be redoing all of that. So,
Okay,
it
so
doesn't
that's why I
make any
just wanted
sense
to
to
make
me.
sure, because I knew it was
Yeah.
bad, that's
It
why I
doesn't
wanted
make
to
any
make
sense
sure.
to me to put money into that if they're gonna start tearing it apart again, so.
So they're actually gonna make 173 narrower then?
It's,
Because we have oversized roads to go through.
no, they're not making it narrower, okay? What they're doing is they're enclosing the parking spaces. The islands that jut out aren't gonna be any further out than a parking space. So the actual travel, the two lanes are gonna be the same size.
I really wish they'd repave it instead of trying to figure out how to redo all of it.
Well, I wish they would too, but that's not the way they work, so. And they're bigger than we are, so, and I wanna tell you a little story, okay?
Doesn't matter, the smallest tugboat can make the most noise.
You know, the village had to sign that agreement on maintaining everything, right? And I guess they were gonna redo the Route 251 through McChesney Park, 2nd Street. And they came up with the same sort of agreement for McChesney Park, and McChesney Park says, wait a minute. And IDOT says, well, we don't have to do this, you know? So, you gotta kind of play the game, that's just the way it is, okay? So,
Okay, well, that's why I asked, because I just knew it was really bad, I walked there the other day, but I thought that was the reason.
I've done my
I wanted to make
homework on
sure.
this, please, and,
No, I'm
yeah,
just asking.
this is it, okay?
No.
So, I want a motion to approve the $66,780 for the sidewalks on 6th Street.
I'll make a motion to do that.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Roll
You need a
call,
roll
sorry,
call.
roll call, okay.
Trustee Wolford?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McCann?
No.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Bee?
Aye,
Trustee G?
No,
so that's 4-3. Do we pass?
Yes.
Okay.
4-2.
4-2. We pass. Okay. All right, next on the list is the picnic tables. I want to get some picnic tables for over behind the well house, so that we have places for people to sit for things like Food Truck Friday, or if they go to Rose's and get something, or get ice cream or whatever, and start to put this park together.
My only concern, and this was voiced before when you brought it up at the other meeting, is I think we need to have something, a slab of concrete attached to a bolt in the ground, so they don't just walk away.
like they do, I know, like if you go to the Harvard Park, out there, they have the kind that have the metal legs, but they have chains that are bolted down so that people can't take
I was
them.
gonna look into that too, yes, okay.
Good.
But I got two different things here. So the first one, this is from Uline, and they're $219 a piece, but they're just wood, and they don't weigh much. They weigh 180 pounds, which is really easy to get, put in the back of a pickup truck. The other ones here are from a different company, and they come with the steel frames, and they're $605, but they weigh almost 300 pounds a piece. So they're a lot heavier, they're a little bit longer, and they come with a 10-year warranty. The other ones don't come with any warranty. So I would recommend that we purchase the 3 at $605. Okay, instead of the cheaper ones. The cheaper ones are more like for somebody's backyard, as far as I'm concerned, okay? Or outside a restaurant or something like that. These are gonna be, they're gonna be out in the weather all the time and everything, and I just think it'd be a good idea. And yeah, I think we can get some concrete blocks and some chain and anchor these in, and so they're not walking away, okay?
Basically, like you do a flagpole, you can almost,
Yeah. Anybody got any comments?
So you're wanting to spend almost $2,000 on picnic tables?
Yeah, dude.
well, we think with the food trucks and everything being here, and if we're gonna put the park in, I think people need a place to sit.
I'd like to see the money actually go and fix our gazebo and have little benches in that before the gazebo gets any worse than what it is. You could put lighting in that gazebo too. You have power there. I think that would,
But we're still up in the air about what we're going to do with that piece of property, so why would we buy something for it when we're still not real
Right.
sure what we're doing in the way of the playground
and we have a
stuff?
gazebo already there that's not being taken care of very well. It's just my opinion.
This is something that could be just put out during the summer, kept maybe at the building where the trucks are,
We could figure that out. Yeah, we could do that.
and that way they're servicing the bike path and your food trucks that come in on Fridays. And then in the winter, they're just put away. You don't have to worry about them quite so much.
We could do that.
They'll last a lot longer that way also.
Yes.
Okay. We could do
Because
that.
I mean, we have an ice cream parlor, we have the food trucks, and the bike path goes right through town. And I know a lot of people do like to bike. And I just think it would be nice to have some place for them to
Seating.
sit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Me too.
Give them a reason to sit down.
And look at our
We-
town.
We have a picnic table here. Hey, I'm gonna walk across the street, get an ice cream while I'm.
Yes.
right.
If they're
It would
open.
bring.
That's
Yeah.
They have all new hours.
That's what I'm trying to do, okay?
Because I know we wanted to do that when you guys had it, we thought it would be nice.
Okay. Can I have a motion to purchase 3 picnic tables at the price of at $605 a piece?
I'll make a motion to approve the,
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Do I need to do a roll call on this?
Yes, you do.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Trustee McMahon?
No.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Bink?
Aye.
Trustee AG? No. Trustee Wolford?
aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, next we have here is the Capron Elementary School PTO donation. And obviously, they've changed what we used to do. Now they have these sponsorships, so the bronze sponsor, the bottom one is $100, or you can sponsor a basket or do a gift card, whatever. Does anybody have any comments about this? Does anybody know what they want to do here?
We've done $50 before.
Yeah,
I say it would be easy enough to go up to the 100 and do the just bronze sponsor. Because if you do the basket sponsor, well, you have to buy all the items for the basket. And that can cost more than that $50 that we did in previous.
okay,
I agree with the 100.
okay. Okay, anybody else? Can I have a motion to become a bronze sponsor for the parent-teacher organization?
I'll make a motion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Trustee McMahon?
Aye.
Trustee Hirsch?
Aye.
President Bink?
Aye.
Trustee AG? Aye. Trustee Wolford?
Aye.
Trustee Pennell?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Next, I was asked to do the financial report, so I'm gonna do the
Steve, did you want to
financial-
cover this
Oh,
first?
well, that was, okay. This picture y'all got, I was gonna let Glenn do this, but this is a picture of one of our manholes during our rainstorm. So, as you can see, pulled the cover off the manhole, so you can see all the water that's rushing into the manhole. And all that water is going into our wastewater system. And we have 38 of those that are doing that or something similar, which is why they're coming out to repair them. I just wanted you all to see what's happening when we have this problem. And that's what's filling up the reservoir and everything else. So when we get these fixed, hopefully this is going to greatly reduce the incident of stormwater infiltration into the sewer system and allow our equipment to last longer, and we don't have to spend as much money on chemicals and stuff, et cetera. And this is the right way to do it anyhow. I just wanted you all to see that.
And it should help people's homes actually too from backing up.
Okay. All right, financial report, general fund, we have $1,513,781.07. In our MFT fund, we have $211,762.55. In our water fund, we have $632,238.54. Our total revenue on the administrative side totals $554,069.24 against a budget of $570,600, which means we've taken in 97.1%, and this represents 11 of our 12 months, which is about 92%. So our revenue's running a little ahead of steam here. The administrative expenses, we spent $201,244.17 against a budget of $210,750 or 95.49%, so we're in pretty good shape there. Under streets, our maintenance, we spent $137,600 against a budget of $107,100, I'm sorry, we spent $103,664.04 against a budget of $107,100 or 96.79%, so it's a little high, but it's really close. On MFT, we've taken in $61,980.41 or 99.17% of our budget, so we're actually a little ahead of the game there. We haven't spent any of the money we allocated for streets yet. I was gonna use it for sidewalks, and obviously that didn't work out because of the engineering requirements on that. Under water and sewer, the revenue, we've taken in $619,476.14 against a budget of $673,300 or 92.1%, which is right on the money with that. Under water expenses, we've spent $410,171.68 against a budget of $469,000 or 87.46%. So where we used to be way above, now we're a little bit below because we reconciled everything. Under sewer expense, we've spent $260,084.51 against a budget of $271,000 or 97.45%. So our financial report's looking pretty good, and I hope next year's looks as good as this year's. Any questions or anything?
When is the start of our fiscal year, May 1st?
May 1st. So next month, we will have the final financial report for fiscal year '26. Okay, any questions? Have a motion to approve the financial report?
I'll make a motion to approve the financial report.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next, what we have on here is trustee Hirsch,
Capron Days.
Capron Days.
Yes, so we have to talk about numbers and figure out what we want and what we don't want for Capron Days. I gave everybody the breakdown of what I came up with based off of what we all talked about. It's all right in front of you. What do you think?
Do we have anything for attendance or I see you've got the pole temple, what about tables and chairs?
We got the tables and chairs with
We
the
have
city.
tables and chairs, we have
Okay.
plenty of those.
What about attendance? Because I can tell you right now from the sesquicentennial, you're gonna have a problem getting volunteers, big time.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. As soon as I get a yes, I'll start working on it.
On what? I didn't quite get that.
Volunteers.
Oh, volunteers, yeah, okay.
But if we can't get the volunteers, then we do need to put in the cost of having attendance.
Do the students still have to for high
No.
school?
Nope, no, they don't.
That was my good
No.
answer.
I thought that was such a good idea, but the problem is, we're such a small town, and such a small area, they're getting all those kids some public service time.
It's hard to get it.
Really hard to do.
Okay.
so,
You get the parents in elementary school.
Now, you talked about a band too, right?
We do need 2 bands, one for
Okay.
Friday and one for Saturday.
Okay, so that'll have to be added in here,
I am looking for that.
okay?
Yep. Right now, we're at 25, 26,
Okay.
and I'm asking for a $3,000 budget.
I think you're gonna need more than that if you're gonna have
By the
two
time you get the
bands.
bands and whoever.
So, yeah, that's why I figured we'd all talk about it and see if we need to raise the numbers, lower the numbers. This is just what I have so far, so.
Okay. Glenn, any comments?
Another idea, you could maybe ask,
That doesn't
like
sound
the
like-
churches and some of the other people, I'm sorry, the churches, maybe an organization would be willing to do it like from hour to hour, like from 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. And we're volunteers for like maybe the Capron Church or the Methodist Church or
Yep.
the bar would be able to maybe take over so many hours.
The Lions Club.
Yeah,
Yep.
Lions Club, something, that you could get people that way to volunteer their time.
Well, Barb's definitely on board for Saturday, so I'm sure she's gonna
Do
have.
the Lions, yeah.
Yes, help with on Saturday. Friday is Food Truck Friday, and I managed that for the most part on my own.
So
Anyways,
for the bounce houses and stuff like that, is our insurance for the village gonna go up if we have to do this ourselves? And if it
I
is,
sent you the email.
it is all good. It's at the Caprons, or it's at the Lions Club. All of it goes to the Lions Club.
They would cover that.
It's on their property.
Just like the sesquicentennial.
okay, and then are we gonna have to have waivers? Because I know
I was
the Lions
It
Club.
depends,
probably
it
do, but-
depends on what, I don't think they did waivers for the bounce houses, we're not gonna have a climbing wall, so I don't
Nope.
think we need to do that,
Okay.
okay? Yeah, the only thing, I mean, we're gonna have to get like garbage cans and stuff and dumpsters. and
The
LRS.
garbage company emailed me today and said that it'll be $100 a unit for the porta potties.
Okay,
For Food Truck Friday, if we wanted to get them once a month, it would be $100 a month for the porta potties to solve that problem.
how many porta potties?
One.
One? Okay. Probably gonna need more than one for the fair.
Yeah, for the fair, maybe more than one,
I
but
think, so I'm thinking, I don't think $3,000 is gonna be.
Well, that's why I
near
figured.
enough, Okay?
talk
The
about
bands are
numbers.
gonna run you something too.
And
The
then
bands
you-
are,
you're
yeah,
gonna
Maybe,
need money
yeah.
for contingencies,
If
okay?
you're gonna have porta potties, you're gonna want a hand washing station though too.
Yeah, that's what the guy has the whole email here.
So I'm probably looking at.
What are we
adding
looking at
another-
for numbers?
At least another $1,500 to this, if not.
Okay,
Okay.
What dates are these?
July 17th and 18th.
Now, we're gonna make this an annual
Mm-hmm.
thing.
That's Friday and Saturday.
Yes,
right?
Friday would
Food
be
Truck Friday.
Food Truck Friday.
And then Saturday, we have the general fair over there. Okay. And the Lions Club is all in on this.
Yes, yes.
Okay? So, all right, so cool, all right?
45 is what you're
Yeah,
thinking.
I
That
think
sounds
so.
fine.
And then you've got examples of bounce houses here?
I got pictures for the bounce houses from Golden Event Rentals. That's the one that I'd like to go with, the company I'd like to go with for it.
Which company, Golden Event?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you want how many of these bounce houses, all of these?
If we can, it's up to you
Okay.
guys, however many you want to do.
So from
We're
what I
gonna put them
read,
right down the middle.
Yeah.
from what I read here, you wanna do the bounce houses and stuff through the golden event.
Right.
But then you want state line bounce for the blue dunk tank and the foam party thing.
Yeah, because they don't have any of that available through Golden Event. So we
Okay.
have to go through State Line if we want to use those options.
I'm not all in favor of the dunk.
Oh, come on.
That's because we're gonna put you in it.
We're gonna put you in it.
They're gonna be lined up, boy.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm taking my change right now.
Okay.
That would be one way to do fundraising right there.
Yeah, there you go.
That's actually my thought.
Ching ching! Yes.
All right.
You're saving your change too.
Thanks
No,
a lot.
just
Okay, so, these bounce houses, do they come with an attendant?
No, no attendant, they just come, they set them up, and,
I don't remember if they.
Because you
came
can
with
only allow so many
attendant or not.
kids in at a time.
The company
Right.
that I had for the Sesquicentennial had the attendant.
the other places have attendants, but they charge like $45 per attendant or $45 per hour and the whole night. If you want an attendant, yes,
Okay.
it's gonna cost per person or per hour.
Maybe the Lions, they have the Leo
Yeah, we have
Kids?
people at the
They
Lions
do,
Club,
they don't have a lot of Leos in the,
anymore.
so we
Okay.
might be able to
I was
get some
gonna say maybe
volunteers,
they
I'm
could have
thinking.
done, since they're kids.
I'll be
well,
up and
not
down
kids,
the
they're
middle,
young adults, but-
you know.
Okay, so what I would appreciate if everybody does is take a good hard look at all of this, so we can make a final decision on it next month, because otherwise, we're not gonna be able to get this
We'll
done.
run out of time.
Okay?
Well,
All right?
especially if you want bands, I mean, a lot of them are gonna be booked up already for the summer.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we're
the
gonna
one
have to
thing I
figure out
don't
the
have
book
yet, is a band.
real soon.
I don't have the band part.
And you're
You
probably
could
looking
talk
at,
to Timber Point Golf Course, because they have, every Thursday, they have bands that are there.
Can
I
you
don't
look
know
up
what
the
they
band that we
charge,
had for the
but they may be
Sesquicentennial?
able to hook you up with some of them. If you go on their website, they list all the name of the bands, they've already got it up for the whole summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, most are like $1,500.
Yeah, I know, there
At
was a
least.
couple that were 12. But I don't know how much under, more.
The
of
band
I
that
don't
we
know.
had at our Sesquicentennial was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
were,
you,
yeah.
that, wasn't that some friend of your mother's or something? The one that the Centennial,
I
those
can't
guys?
remember who it was, to be honest.
There was a couple guys from Rockford, I thought, but I wanted to think you said it was somebody that your mother knew.
That's-
I have records of it, I'll look it up.
We'll
Yeah,
get
I
it.
can't remember the name.
They were
That's it.
really good.
That's all we got left, and I have pricing for banners. I put in pricing for banners for Food Truck Friday as well, because that is something that we are doing for 5 to 6 months out of the year. I think putting like one of those feather banners up by
Okay,
173,
ones that stand.
you know, like
It's
a,
like what they have down here by Stumble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
that would be nice
Like
to
that
catch
look like a
people's
sale?
attention.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So if we're gonna buy banners, we might as well buy banners in
Yeah.
bulk
Oh, yeah,
instead
you
of.
wanna be able to keep using them.
Okay, I skipped over trustee McMahon, you got anything else?
No.
Okay, trustee Aging,
No.
Walfart,
No?
then I have a water report.
I've got a water report. The Shadowbrook lift station pumps were cleaned and serviced. The wastewater treatment plant maintained proper function despite high levels of rain and runoff. The plant is depleted of nutrients and is being treated. Overflow at the lagoon had to be processed back through the plant.
Okay.
Why?
As before we adjourn, I just want to let you all know, I have what my plan is for the money that is sitting in our general fund, okay? We had an estimate a couple of years ago that the water main was gonna cost somewhere around $1 million out here on 173. We currently have $1,513,000 in our general fund. And the water main is not gonna be replaced for another 2 or 3 years, which allows us to put more money into our general fund between now and then, if we're fiscally responsible with what we're doing, so that we will be able to pay cash for that water main, rather than having to go out and get a loan and raise water rates again. I don't wanna have to do that if I don't have to. And I think we can work this out, even if it's the majority of the cost of the water main. I think that's the right thing to do, so that's what I'm working at. But that also doesn't mean we can't spend some of it on other things like the playground, okay? I just try to be careful and try to balance out so that we can do both things at the same time and do the stuff that needs to be done for this village. The stuff that needs to be done for this village isn't always underground, okay? Some of it's above ground, some of it's for the benefit of all the people that are here to use it, rather than just not be able to see where their money goes and everything. And I'm trying, that's what we're trying to do. That's what this sign in front of the building is for. That's what replacing sidewalks for. That's what Friday food trucks is for. That's what the Capron Fair is for. That's what picnic tables are for. so we can turn this town into a community where people get together and celebrate the fact that we got a pretty nice little town we live in here, and I just want to move on that way, okay? All right.
And I also want to say that Food Truck Friday is a definite
People love it.
positive.
Yep.
We already meet people for dinner on Food Truck Friday, Steve and I do. And I think it's a phenomenon.
We've had a lot of people come up and say thank you.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anybody else, anything?
Is there a general timetable for installation of the park, the park equipment?
No, I'm gonna put that on the agenda for next month so we can make a decision on what we're gonna do.
Because it would be nice to have that up and operational for
We need to put a fence up.
It's a 10-week
the
lead
road
time,
at the park, though.
which is why I was
Doesn't
pushing
need our
for
deck
it,
because
but
someone got fuel in the
unfortunately,
highway.
I wasn't allowed to do that, so.
Well, I think the
If
fence.
we get it approved by next month, we should have it up and
Fence needs to
running
be
by the
put up,
middle of summer.
right.
Okay? All right. Anybody else?
Wish we owned that cane house.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
One second.
All in favor?